Well, we're going to spend some time talking about how to solve proportions. This whole unit is going to be about similar triangles, and we're going to set up a ton of proportions. And so if you don't know how to solve it, it's going to make it kind of tricky. And so we're going to spend some time talking about cross multiplying. And so cross multiplying is when you're going to take the two diagonals and you're going to multiply 10 times 7, and you're going to multiply 6 times p. So 10 times 7 is just 70, and 6 times p is 6p. And then we're going to divide both sides by 6, and I get 70 divided by 6. Now, this doesn't work out perfectly, and so I can just reduce this fraction and say, okay, divided by 2 on top, divide by 2 on the bottom, and I get 35 thirds, or that's about 11.66 repeated. So I want to talk very quickly about why does cross multiplying work. And so what I ended up doing here is I got 10p over 6/7, and if I multiply both sides by p, that'll be nice because it crosses out the p on the bottom here. And if I multiply both sides by 7, it crosses out the 7 over here. And so any time if I multiply both sides by both denominators, one of them is going to cross out, and the result is 7 times 10, because the p's crossed out, and 6 times p, because the 7's crossed out. And so that's the idea behind cross multiplying. We're going to do 2 more examples. We're going to increase the difficulty a little bit. And so when you multiply across this way, I'm going to get 3 times n plus 3. You want to make sure, and I'm putting these in parentheses because 3 times n is 3n, and 3 times 3 is 9. Both of them get multiplied by the 3. And then over here I get 8 times 5, or 5 times 8, however you want to write it, is 40. And so then I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. I get 3n equals 31. And then I'm going to divide by 3 to get the n by itself, and I get 31 thirds. Or again, that's 10.3, approximately. All right, we've got one more where the x is going to end up on both sides, or in this case, the n. And so if I cross multiply, I get 3 times n minus 7. And I get 4 times n minus 2. And so then distribute, I get 3n. 3 times 7 is negative 21. I've got 4 times n, and 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And so now I want to get n's on the same side. And so I'm going to subtract 3n because I like positive n's. Some of you might like your n's on the left-hand side. I'm just going to get 4n minus 3n is n. So I got n minus 8. Don't lose that negative 21 there. And then I'm just going to add 8 to both sides. Ugh. Sorry, my caps just got a little messed up there. Add 8, and when I add 8 to both sides, I get negative 13. So when I plug n back in, you're all capable of making mistakes just as I am. But if I plug n back in here, I should get 3 divided by negative 13 minus 2. I'm just plugging 13 back in for the n and back in for the n. You got 4 divided by negative 13 minus 7. So both sides should be equal to each other. So this is negative 15, and then 4 divided by negative 20. So this, if I divide top and bottom by 3, I get 1/5 with the negative, and I divide top and bottom by 4, and I get 1/5 with the negative. And so both of those work out. Those are proportions. We're going to do one more set of proportions where we get quadratics out and we have to factor, so stay tuned.